Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. As always, I'm grateful to all of you for your love, support, likes, shares, and comments. Thank you as well to those of you who are sending in donations. It is so helpful. I'm very grateful. I love each and every single one of you guys. If you're new here, my name is Celtae. This will be another general channeled transmission on the collective energy. So take what resonates and leave the rest. If you want to book a personal reading with me or any of my other services, go to celtecreatrix.com. Without further ado, calling on my ancestors, the archangels, and the Most High Holy Spirit, Universe Creator, please allow me to channel what the viewer needs to hear for their highest good and healing, and so it is. Let's give Miss Luna another treat. Want a little treat, sweetie? Want another little treat, babies? There you go, sweetie. One thing that I do feel called to mention is I've been seeing a lot of those nostalgia videos from the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s of the footage from high school. So like the last day of high school in 1998. And then the music in the background is the song That's Just the Way It Is by Bruce Hornby. It's like ding dang 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 ding dang 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 dang. That's just the way it is. Doodaloo, doodaloo, doodaloo. Some things will never change. Something hasn't changed after all these years. Maybe the way that somebody feels about you. Maybe somebody from that time. Maybe something is relevant, or there's something that's coming through about your high school years, or the years right after high school, or in university or college, or right after college, or right after university. There could be something about that. Or there could be something about somebody from that time that was relevant to you. It could be a friend or an ex-lover or even a teacher. For some of you, it's a teacher, or there's something coming through of like you at that time, how you at that time felt or were made to feel, what you at that time were experiencing. And there could be something that's being faced in the present moment. There's also something coming through of Michael Myers, because yesterday it was Halloween and I did watch Halloween Ends, and I'd never seen that movie before. Like I'd seen Halloween, but I'd never seen, like, I guess that installment, which I believe is the last one because it's called Halloween Ends. So I feel like something is ending. So some back and forth thing that you've had with this part of yourself or this part of your shadow, something that maybe you were afraid to face or that you have been facing. Like I feel like that you've been doing really intense shadow work, and I feel like you really had to face a certain part of yourself or a part of your past, and it was the opposite of easy. It was the opposite of comfortable. It was like one of the hardest things that you ever had to do. But I feel like there's also something coming through about moving past it, moving past something, putting something to rest. I feel like there's somebody who feels you putting something to rest in their inner soul. They might not be consciously aware that that's what they're feeling, but it's almost like somebody's receiving messages about it, or there's somebody receiving messages from spirit, or there's something about like you could be hearing somebody's name over and over again. This old friend's name, or this old lover's name, or this old teacher's name, or whoever this is, somebody from the past, or something that's reminding you of the past, that's bringing you back to a nostalgic energy within yourself. Somebody could also be Dutch. There's something about that's on the deck here. Something about religious trauma. So yeah, this Michael Myers energy. They crave your energy but resent your glow. That's interesting, because it's like the whole premise of the movie is that he's chasing Lori. He's obsessed with this woman. There could even be somebody who's like obsessed with you. For some of you, different messages for different people, but for some of you, there could be even somebody who's kind of like dangerously obsessed with you. This person could really enjoy reading books, or again, Dutch. Somebody could be Dutch. is coming through. But yeah, let's read some bullet points here that I got on Michael Myers energy. So, the embodiment of the shadow self, the repressed, unloved, or exiled part of the psyche that turns destructive when ignored. I feel like that part of yourself maybe influenced you because that part went unchecked for so long, because it was so painful, because it was connected to perhaps religious trauma or some sort of trauma from your past. I feel like you've been facing it, but that part of yourself maybe caused you to, or influenced you to do destructive things that were like self-destructive. Could have been destructive towards other people, but for a lot of you guys, I feel like it was self-destructive. Like these things, these patterns were self-destructive, and I feel like you've been really working on unpacking those and healing those, facing that part of yourself, making peace with that part of yourself. There's also something of like not necessarily fully getting into the fear mode when this Michael Myers energy comes up. It's like something you felt like chased by something, or you felt like reactive to something that felt like it wouldn't leave you alone. Like this energy that was coming through other people, or that you were re-experiencing through other people, like over and over again, like the same energy in different bodies, like, or different people, like that same treatment. And it's almost like it's like people provoking you or poking the bear, people almost like wanting to get a response out of you, somebody feeding off of you. Again, there's something coming through about vampires. It's like somebody wanting to feed off of your energy, off of the fear, like people stoking your fear and then feeding off of it. That's funny. Twilight Nocturne, people wanting to feed off of it. See, and she's wearing all black. It's like you felt like that you constantly had to protect yourself against this energy because you feared that powerlessness that came from these people that influenced you to feel that powerlessness by treating you as if you were powerless. When it's like this thing where you understand that you are powerful, that you are so extremely powerful, and your awareness is that thing that allows you to see something for what it is without taking ownership of the thing that that person is projecting onto you. Diving towards the heavens. I feel like it's like you're diving into this portal. You've moved through some sort of portal. You've moved past some sort of threshold. You were at the threshold, and I feel like maybe you had a confrontation with this energy, kind of like in Halloween Ends. She has like the final showdown with this man. Also in that movie, people blame her, like she gets framed for something that she didn't do. Or one character in that movie, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there's a character in that movie that ends up making it seem like she took their life when she didn't. And then so something about the wrong place at the wrong time. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time, or yeah. Anyway, so back to Michael Myers energy. So unintegrated trauma. So you, maybe it's like something has triggered something. It's like you're staring at it in the face. You've been dealing with this. I feel like for a lot of you guys, you've been dealing with this for a really long time, but it's almost like it's come to a head. Especially lately, it's come to a head. It's forced you to really confront this, to see like, where is the fear even coming from? I feel like, did you face a fear? I feel like you faced a fear, and then it's like now you're not afraid of it. It's like you faced the fear, and now you're like, I'm not even fearing that anymore. Why was I even afraid of that in the first place? But then it's like you kind of know why obviously you know why you were afraid of it, but you're just like, what is this? Like, why am I not feeling fear about this? Why am I not worrying about this more? Like, what happened? It feels like something happened, but it's weird. Like, you can't put a finger on it. You can't put a finger on what this change is or something. Like, for some of you, it's like, you know that something has shifted. You know that something has changed. Sweep away ill intent while creating boundaries weaved with protection. A witch respects passages of safety. You've gone through this portal towards a type of experience in your life where you are free to feel safe. Where it's not this thing where you're always worrying, when is the next foot going to drop? Because there's something of somebody coming into your life, or this energy coming through other people, and then kind of just seeing it for what it is and being like, I do not have to react to that at all, because I know exactly what you're trying to do, and it's not my responsibility that you're trying to do that, because it says more about you in saying what you're saying. There's something of not taking on somebody else's energy who is not even conscious of what they're even doing in the first place. May the serpent wake, bellowing with the rising flame and beckoning the wisdom that awaits your return. So you're returning to a state of being that you haven't been in this state of being for a long time. Maybe you're even feeling really good like you did way back in the day, or something was taken from you, or this fear started in high school, or this fear started in university. This fear started a long time ago, and now you're taking back your power from that fear that was created during those experiences throughout high school, or throughout university, or throughout your early 20s, or Interesting. Okay, let's see so then what's going on? Oh yeah, Michael Myers. Sorry guys. Okay, silence as repression. His wordlessness symbolizes emotions. There's also something there's something of I don't know, keeping yourself small, or your posture, or something like that. Maybe it's you kind of learned to shrink yourself at a certain point in your life because you just didn't want to be picked on, or you didn't even really want, there was obviously a part of you that always wanted to be seen, but there was also this part of you that just didn't even want to exist, in a sense. You didn't even want to be there. You didn't even fit in. Maybe somebody didn't fit in. You didn't want to be there. You just wanted to shrink away and remain in the shadows, just to not deal with whatever this fear was. Or there's something about being perceived, how you were perceived, or not wanting to be perceived, or an uncomfortability of being perceived because you felt the perceptions of what they were perceiving. And I'm hearing there was something about a misunderstanding, or I feel for some of you guys, you didn't even understand something yet. For some of you, you didn't even understand something yet about yourself, about your family, or about what happened, or about what you had gone through. You didn't even understand that something wasn't okay until later you understood that it wasn't okay. You didn't understand confirmation. You didn't understand that something wasn't okay, or that something was off, until later you recognize that. Because I feel maybe it's something about dissociation. There's something about dissociation. I feel somebody was in deep dissociation, but you always had this beautiful soul. You were always a beautiful soul. I feel people always saw this beautiful soul that you had. You were always different. A lot of you guys felt that you were always different. Okay, so let's see what's... Oh yeah, the Michael Myers. Sorry guys, my goodness. Okay, so yeah, the unintegrated trauma. So you could be fully integrating a particular trauma that happened in high school, or multiple, or the trauma of how a trauma from your early childhood affected you in high school, of how you didn't understand, thank you Spirit, of how you didn't understand something yet, about how something affected you and affected your frequency and affected how you interacted with other people. I'm hearing how you perceived other people interacting with you. I feel a lot of you guys were really dissociated, and it's almost then you went from out of the frying pan into the fire, so to speak, because you didn't understand something. You didn't understand how to deal with something. you felt like other people could understand, or it's like you felt like other people had the secret code and you didn't have the secret code. But I feel like it's because no one gave you the code. No one gave you the code. It's like somebody was just trying to protect yourself. Like you were confirmation. You were trying to protect yourself when other people were just like living or something like that. You were fighting a battle. Some of you guys didn't even fully understand that you were fighting. Like you didn't fully understand that you were fighting something. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but there's something of like you were fighting some sort of inner battle, or an inner battle and an outer battle. Confirmation, while other people were just going through the motions. Or there's something of like somebody else was fighting a battle too. It's like everybody has their own battles to fight, but I feel like there's something about like a misunderstanding of your battle that you fought and how that took a toll on you. And then I feel like you like criticized or judged yourself. Confirmation, you criticized or judged yourself. Maybe that's where the comparison started. Maybe that's where the comparison started. But it's like it wasn't fair, because it wasn't fair. That comparison was never fair. That comparison was toxic to your soul. It was toxic to your spirit. Maybe this is something that you've been facing, of like this critical voice in your own head. This you that comes and attacks you. This you that comes and betrays you, that goes against your soul, because it's like you're trying to protect yourself or whip yourself into shape, but really you're just hurting yourself, or you've been hurting yourself by comparing yourself, by being so hard on yourself, by speaking down to yourself in an attempt to... It's almost like bullying yourself so that, like, on behalf of the people who bullied you. It's like learning to bully yourself because other people bullied you. It's like you learned how to bully yourself first so that it wouldn't hurt so much when other people would bully you. Confirmation. I feel like there's something going on in your heart space, and you're opening yourself up to prosperity. You're opening yourself up to abundance. You're opening yourself up to what you deserve. You're opening yourself up to love, because it's like it hurt too much to love, or to accept love, or to see. It's like you were afraid to love yourself because there's something of like you learned to hurt yourself before other people could hurt you. Like deep within yourself or your psyche, you learn to hurt yourself before other people hurt you. Because then that's how you felt control, where you were like, well, if you're going to hurt me, if you're going to talk down to me, if you're going to bully me, if you're going to go after me, then I'm just going to do it to myself to try to make myself disappear, or make myself try to fit in, or make myself like just to somehow survive this hell. Whatever was going on. There's also something of like, there is something coming through of feeling nostalgic for a time that you didn't even enjoy a lot of the time. Like for some of you, maybe you did enjoy it. Maybe there were some things that you enjoyed, but when you really get down to it, maybe you didn't actually enjoy. Like maybe a lot of the joy wasn't even real joy. It was a mask. Maybe a lot of the joy wasn't even real joy. It was a mask, or something like that for somebody. Different messages for different people. Can we get some more? Oh yeah. Silence as repression. His wordlessness symbolizes the emotions buried deep, so they've lost voice or identity. So a deep emotion from this time period. The mask, persona, armor. The false face we wear to hide what feels unacceptable. So it's like you've faced your own face or mask that you had to wear to feel acceptable at that time, this time in the past that you could feel nostalgia for some parts of it. Or that other people like have this nostalgia for that time, but maybe for you it wasn't a good time. Maybe for some people the 90s were a good time, but maybe for you it wasn't a good time. Maybe for some people the 80s were a great time, but maybe for you it was an awful time. For some people, maybe the early 2000s were awesome, but maybe for you, it just wasn't awesome at all. Maybe it was actually the opposite of awesome. There's something about that. So this emotion, the mask. So the mask to bury that, to what feels, what felt unacceptable, to what felt unacceptable, that spirit, what felt unacceptable to the collective. So then they pushed it really far down, and they learned to cover it up with a mask that's come back to be integrated, that they've actually been facing or fully integrating. What is this that felt unacceptable to them? Skeptical. What you see is what it is. Skeptical. What felt unacceptable? It's like anger. So in anger, this anger, or people being skeptical of you, people not understanding you, kind of like people didn't understand Michael Myers. That's why he became himself, right? Or I can't even remember that story. Let me actually just type that. Let me actually just finish the bullet points before we go back to this. Emotionless stalking, the mechanical compulsive nature of unhealed patterns that haunt us until they're seen. So like, I feel like you're seeing a pattern. That's what's, you're finally seeing and integrating this pattern that you've had since high school or younger. But I really feel like there's something coming through about high school, okay? Eternal return. Also, there could be somebody stalking you, and it's almost like because there's deep emotions that they stuff down, and it's like they're fixated on you because it's like he kind of stalks that woman because she represents the light that he has disconnected from within himself. So then that's why he chooses to stalk her, in part, I feel, is because, and then it's like and just as much as so he's stalking her because she's the light. Lori, whatever her face, what's her face? What is her face? I can't remember. You guys know the actress's name. That's gonna bother me. What's her name? Anyways, let me not get distracted. Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee, sorry guys, Jamie Lee Curtis. So like, he's stalking Jamie Lee Curtis because she represents the light, and then it's like he represents her shadow. Like, that will relentlessly stalk her until she faces it and understands like where it originated from, where it came from, until she puts it to rest or something. The mechanical compulsive nature of unhealed patterns that haunt us until they're seen. Eternal return. His constant resurrection mirrors the psyche's insistence on bringing shadow back to consciousness until it's faced. Obsession with one woman, Lori, or Jamie Lee Curtis. The anima projection, pursuit of the lost feminine principle, soul, empathy, and feeling. So it's like somebody could be disconnected from their feeling. Or maybe you were disconnected from something that has always been uncomfortable for you to feel. Or it's like you had to stuff something down to survive during high school. Because I feel like for some of you it was a really painful period, or something really bad happened. Or like the entire period was just awful for some of you guys. Maybe it wasn't for some, but this could be any time, like in the past, that you feel like nostalgia for. Obsession with one. Okay, yeah. So the soul, empathy, and feeling with which the shadow longs to destroy or reunite with. Halloween setting, the liminal threshold, when the veil between conscious and unconscious thins, inviting confrontation with buried fears. So a buried fear, something that made a fear that made you angry, that you felt the fear of being hurt. Okay, that caused this anger, the rage, that this anger and this rage. The fear of being hurt, like being skeptical of people because you didn't trust people. There's something of like not trusting people and being angry that you couldn't trust them. Being angry that they hurt you and then denied that they hurt you, that they gaslit you, that somebody gaslit. Keeping you in check. Keeping you in check. Somebody trying to keep you in check. Okay, skeptical. Skeptical that somebody even cared. Somebody making you skeptical of your worth. Skeptical of yourself. Skeptical of your very identity. Angry that somebody abandoned you. feeling fear of abandonment, angry that somebody let you down, that somebody made you feel skeptical of yourself, of your identity, of your worth. Like there's something of like feeling skeptical, like feeling like you couldn't trust people. Or like I said, like feeling like people couldn't trust you because of something about you that you were going through, that you didn't know how to talk to other people about that. It's like you had to keep something in. You had to repress it. You had to shove it down to survive. First of all, just to survive the trauma itself. But then it's like around certain people, it's like you either didn't know how to talk about it, or you were so dissociated from the very experience that shaped you into a person that other people felt like they didn't know where to place you, or they didn't know what to do with you. They didn't understand you. You felt misunderstood. You were understood. You weren't seen. For some of you, it's like this is high school, misdirection and speechless. You couldn't speak on something, or you couldn't put words to something of like what you were going through, or you felt so much shame or something. You felt so much shame about something. You felt so much shame, or you were programmed with such shame that you like literally couldn't speak on something. You couldn't like I'm talking about like you couldn't speak about someone who hurt you or about something that happened. And then you could there's this one memory. Okay, so there's this one memory that you could remember. Something is coming up about like some sort of memory where you eventually did open up to someone, and it just like the floodgates opened and you completely lost your shit, or like you completely had a meltdown where you just finally for the first time in your young life told somebody what happened to you or what you felt about something, because up until that point you couldn't even let yourself put words to something like outside of yourself. You couldn't, because it's like you were so fractured from a part of yourself that you couldn't even really name something. It's like because you had to wear this mask to hide yourself from the very thing, the boogeyman that was in your own home, was in your own family, that was under your roof, that you grew up in, or that you went to school with this boogeyman, or you went to church with this boogeyman. Something about church, religious trauma, something about like a religious figure, like you were around this boogeyman, and because you had to repress that to survive, like because the very fact that that was a thing, like that's terrifying, right? So you had to disconnect from that reality to live in a false reality. It was a false reality, but then it's like you also disconnected yourself from the anger and the sadness and the pain, the righteous anger, the sacred rage at what had happened, at what had been violated, that you had been violated, that you had been abused, that you had been deeply disappointed by someone or by something that happened. Something to do with a rejection, or like it caused you to reject a part. You had to reject a part of yourself. Depression. So rage turned inwards. You turned in this rage in at yourself. Thank you, Spirit. And you've been carrying that ever since. And sometimes you talk to yourself. I feel like you've been learning to face this, okay? For many years on your healing journey, you've been facing this depression, this rage turned inwards, like, and everything, confirmation, rejection, and misdirection. Inner conflict, right? This battle with your inner Michael Myers and your inner Lori, right? But I feel like something like you had a showdown. Now something is ending because you've kind of, you're putting all the patterns together and seeing how this inner fracture, this inner disconnection, like this soul fracture, or this split, like it's like you had to split off from a part of your own reality that you experienced to survive. And then it's like all I'm hearing, it's like encased in shame. It's like this part of your soul is like encased in this shame that somebody else projected onto you for the very thing that they did to abuse you, or that they did to hurt you, that they used shame to make you feel rejected and unworthy and unwanted, because they felt rejected and ashamed and unworthy and unwanted and abandoned. Somebody's sibling wanted to make you feel how they were made to feel by somebody else. Somebody felt powerless in a situation at home, This could even be somebody that you went to school with or somebody that you dated at the time. It's like you dated somebody abusive, like somebody could have been abusive, or I'm hearing like, I don't know. Now I'm seeing like Bart Simpson and his friend. I can't remember. Is his friend's name Nelson, or what is his friend's name? No, not Nelson, but maybe somebody's name is Nelson, or there's something about that. I'm seeing the other little kid. I don't know who this is. Guys, I don't know who this is. That kid. I don't know. That kid just came to my mind. I don't know who that is though. Okay, so yeah. Somebody made you feel rejected. Something about the Simpsons. Connection. Something about like feeling disappointed in love, or feeling disappointed because somebody never loved you the way that you needed to be loved. Disappointment, overwhelm in reverse. It's like you had to survive something that was so overwhelming, so you disconnected from that feeling. There's something, yeah, so this Michael Myers energy that's followed you, that's like been hunting you down. You felt hunted by an energy, like you felt like that you were prey, and then somebody was the predator hunting you, and you felt like almost like your nervous system felt like overcome by people of that energy, even if it was very subtle, even if it was very, very subtle, very energetic, very like their words that they used to talk to you. Like you can pick up on that energy. There's something about that, but now it's like almost because you faced it, it's not necessarily, you're in your power now more than you ever have been before. There's also something coming through about otters reflection. I feel like, so otters is like flow energy. Flow and fluidity, joy as medicine, innocence restored. You're restoring a piece of your innocence that was corrupted at a young age and then exacerbated by whatever happened in your high school years or in your early life, like in your early adulthood. Like something, because I feel like you didn't fully understand how to deal with something that you had already been dealing with, and something was just compounded or made even worse. So there's something about a person from that time period that's thinking about you. There's something about like multiple people from that period of your life thinking about you. You could even be thinking about those people, but I feel like they're coming. It's like you haven't thought about somebody in a long time, but now all of a sudden you have been picking up on somebody's energy from that time for some reason. We'll get more information on it. But at the time, they were a reflection of something that was going on within you, something about a trauma that you had disconnected from, or that had gone unresolved, some sort of unresolved trauma. And this person could have even had an unresolved trauma within themselves or within their past that they were actually dealing with. And it's like the two of you were actually came together because of shame, because it's like, I don't know, you were reflecting, something back towards each other. Okay, so just with the Michael Myers energy again. Home invasion motif, the shadow entering the house, the psyche, showing that what we repress eventually returns to our inner sanctuary. Knife symbolism, penetrating truth, cutting through illusion, separation, and denial, can heal our harm depending on awareness. You're not in denial of something about you're not in denial of something anymore, but I feel like you are aware of the people who are in denial. And I think that that's what makes you angry, is people who have always been in denial of the truth, that made you have to deny your own truth to get in line and to conform with their own denial, to conform with their denial that they were conforming to. to conform to their denial, their version of reality, their version of events that made themselves able to live in denial of the truth of who they were to you and who they were as people and who they are and what they did to you. So it's like you have confronted the lie that was told to you or that you were forced to live in order to live within and fit in to the life around others who are in denial of the very treatment that they put you through, the very abuse that they made you endure, that affected your nervous system, your life, your body, your mind, your psyche, your soul. There's something that has been becoming resolved within your emotional body. So this penetrating truth, cutting through the illusion, connection, the illusion of connection, cutting through the illusion of connection. Somebody wants the illusion but somebody was withdrawn. You're already withdrawn from a certain connection with somebody or multiple people. And it's like you're cutting through the fact that it was an illusion of a connection, because in order to be connected to these people, you had to disconnect from a part of yourself to make it okay that you were connecting with those people who always made you feel like it wasn't okay to be yourself, because they put you down, they picked on you, they bullied you, they belittled you. Somebody treated you like they abused you, but then they still wanted to be connected with you. That's the thing. So it's like this thing that you've been facing of like people coming into your life and taking shots at you as if you don't see it, talking down to you as if you don't clock it, thinking that they can get away with disrespecting you and projecting onto you. Even if some of these people who have been doing this, though, they're not even conscious of it, because it's like they haven't even dealt with that thing within themselves. But it's this thing of like, you used to put up with people because that's what you were conditioned to put up with, that treatment. You were conditioned to put up with the illusion of connection with people who you actually felt that they were withdrawn from the connection. They withdrew their heart from the connection. It's like you felt locked out of something. You felt locked out of someone's heart. But it's like then they would gaslight you and say that, no, you're not. It's like, yeah, but they kept you locked out because inner child. The truth, something. It's like about how your inner child is like, you're protecting your inner child at this point, because you're not going to, I feel like you used to like suffer fools, but I feel like it's because you were trained to, because you were like trained to be quiet, or you were trained to be compliant, or you were trained to be good, like the good girl. There could even be somebody from that time who withdrew from your energy, and they're seeing you now, and they see that you've changed. They see that you're more connected now. They see that you've healed this connection with your inner child. And I feel like this person is still disconnected from their inner child. They still haven't reaction, ego. It's like somebody from the past is reacting to how you've changed. They're having a reaction. Their ego is having a reaction to how you've changed and how you've released this block. Somebody sees, or there are multiple people from this time period, or from your past, or from this time period, that you feel nostalgia for this period, who see that you've actually released yourself from a block, that they knew you as this version of you that was disconnected from your inner child because of a core wound or a core trauma that happened to you as a child, that you yourself had to disconnect yourself from the totality and the enormity and the reality of what you lived through to be able to survive what was going on within your body and your mind and your soul and your nervous system. Like your nervous system, it's like you had to shut down a part of yourself to get through something, because you were either still around the person who had abused you, or you were being abused by people, you were being bullied at school. It's like out of the frying pan into the fire, because you had already been imprinted with that imprint of being the prey, being the one victimized, being the powerless one, right? Within a situation where there was an abuser who needed you to be the powerless one, to accept their shame that they projected onto you. So you went out into the world, and you went into elementary school, then you went from elementary school and you went into high school, and you re-experienced this trauma in different forms with different people, where you were projected onto. Other people would project their shame onto you, and you took it, and you didn't even, I feel like there was always this part of you though, okay, that knew like what was going on at some level. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Like, you knew what was going on at some level, but it doesn't mean that it didn't hurt. Like, you know what I mean? You knew something, like you were always wise from a really young age, and you kind of knew what was going on, but another part of you, like, it was just so painful. And I felt like you felt like so isolated, like you felt like you were alone on this island for like your whole life, like, because it's almost like, because you yourself because the people who abused you acted like it didn't happen, acted like how you felt didn't matter, and also then like nobody knew. It's like something was a secret, or something was a secret. There's something about a secret. Can we get some more information? There's something about a secret. Yeah, so anyways, this person, there are people from your past who've seen that you've changed. There are people from the past who feel like that you've withdrawn your energy from them. They're having a reaction, right? Because they miss like how they felt around you, what they got out of your connection. But I feel like you never felt like that they were actually connected at a real level to you or with you. Like, it wasn't like a reciprocal connection. It was a vampiric connection where it's like deceit. So somebody who lied to you or deceived you or did something deceitful, or maybe there's something of like, there's something about that, this deceitful energy. Okay, can we get some more information about this? So yeah, so energetic interpretations of this Michael Myers energies just before we move on here. The frequency: cold, heavy, lunar, shadow energy, emotional suppression, ancestral pain. Ancestral, this is like an ancestral thing, right? That has haunted you, right? Or that has haunted you for many lifetimes, or that has haunted your family for many moons. Invitation: face of the part of you that feels inhuman, disconnected. You were made to feel like you were dehumanized by people throughout your life, and then it's like you learned how to like almost treat yourself like that before anybody else could, to like try to whip yourself up into shape to feel some sort of semblance of control in a cruel, cold world that never really saw what you had gone through, or what you were going through, or what you were enduring when you needed it the most, when you needed to be seen, when nobody else could see you. Like, I'm seeing someone like just sitting alone in the bathroom just crying. I'm seeing like somebody sitting and eating alone in the bathroom just crying, or somebody skipping class just not wanting to be there, somebody just feeling like completely just lost and misunderstood. It's true. It wasn't your fault they couldn't hold sacred what you offered. I'm gonna cry. It wasn't somebody needs to hear that. These people from the past, it's like, I feel like they're seeing that you've changed, but I feel like now they're seeing you more than they ever saw you. But it's like, is it because, in part, yes, because they couldn't even see a part of themselves in their own humanity, so it's like, how could they even see yours? But there's something of like, it was almost a reflection of how you yourself were disconnected from a part of yourself and what you had gone through and your humanity, because you were dehumanized through the abuse that you experienced. And through that abuse and through that trauma, you were actually disconnected from a piece of yourself, because you had to disconnect from that emotion and from the terror of what created those emotions and what created that deep shame or those feelings within you. The dehumanization, like, you disconnected from that to protect yourself because you were still around these predators. And so you almost had to harden yourself from this part of yourself. You almost had to wear this mask like Michael Myers. Not saying you're Michael Myers, but I'm saying you almost had to wear this mask to pretend like everything was okay. Maybe it's like you didn't even know yourself fully. Like, you knew yourself at a deep level, but there was something of like, because of this disconnection, you didn't know how to maybe communicate it, or you didn't know what you didn't know. And now you know, and I feel like now others see that you know something has been figured out, and people are seeing that you figured something out. People have seen that you've moved through something really huge. People have seen you change over the years. Some people don't understand what they're seeing, but they know. There's something of like, they know what they're seeing, but they don't understand it. They know that you've changed. They know that you're glowing. They know that you're different. They know that you look better. They know It's true. It wasn't your fault they couldn't hold sacred what you offered. You were always sacred, but they treated you like you weren't. They treated you like you weren't good enough. They treated you like you weren't pretty enough, that you weren't handsome enough, that you weren't worthy, that you weren't relevant, that you weren't to be included, that you weren't a human. Like they dehumanized you. But maybe it's because they were dehumanized. Vice. You were dehumanized because you used a vice. You had an addiction maybe throughout these years or at this time, and then it's like people like look down on you because of that addiction. They dehumanized you instead of trying to understand why you were using, trying to understand like what caused that person. It's because that great immense pain and that void within yourself that was created from the void of not having somebody who mirrored back to you that love of self, that the love. You had people who treated you like an object, or who treated you like an inconvenience, who treated you less than human, less than deserving, like that you weren't good enough to treat well, like that you weren't loved, like that you were hated. You were hated by a sibling for somebody. I'm speaking somebody out there, different messages for different people, but like somebody, like your sibling, like you felt like your sibling hated you. And I feel like deep down inside, there was a part of them that either did love you or could have learned to develop that or feed into that love that they felt for you. But it's like I'm seeing like Anakin Skywalker, they went to the dark side and they treated you like that they hated you, like you felt like that they, it's like you felt like you always had this enemy inside of your own home, like you felt like you could never even, it's like you weren't even safe at home. You felt like not even safe at home with your parents or with your siblings, and then you went to school and you didn't feel safe there either. You felt like you were getting the same treatment. You didn't even feel safe, like you didn't even feel safe or seen or respected by your teachers. You felt disrespected, you felt unseen, you felt misunderstood, you felt looked down on, you felt like it happened to you everywhere, because that was sort of like the matrix programming, that the abuse like was the intent, or was the outcome of having been abused the way that you were, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, actually, whatever it was like that was, it was to make you into feeling powerless. It was to make you into feeling not good enough. It was to make you like, that's what it was. And it's like, you've been facing this. It wasn't your fault that these people who bullied you or who couldn't love you properly, this, like somebody had like, I don't know, an emo boyfriend, or somebody was the emo boyfriend, like somebody had, but I feel like somebody had like a boyfriend with black hair and like bangs that went this way or something like that. Criminal enterprise, this person could have sold drugs or something like that. Religious conflicts, this, like maybe your family didn't like this person, or this person's family didn't like you, or there's something about like religious trauma. Ritual and ceremony, something about like ritual abuse, like ritual, or you were abused at church, or you were abused by people who were saying that they were religious, or who were saying that they were righteous. But it's like there was even somebody in a position of power, maybe for some of you it was even like a chaplain or something like that, who was like really inappropriate towards you and who bullied you, like who treated other people a certain way, and then they took something out on you. But it's because it's almost like, because there's something about like that wild, untamed part of you that kind of like, because of the things that you had been through, because of the abuse that you experienced, like you saw through other people, like you saw the darkness in other people, but then it's like, because they felt that you saw their darkness, they projected that darkness onto you. There's something about that where it's like, your light, it's like your reluctance to give in to the programming. Thank you, Spirit. You always had this reluctance to give into the religious programming, the indoctrination, the abuse, like what the abuse. For some of you it was religious, like indoctrination and abuse through like religious trauma, but for some of you guys it was that and or like literal like narcissistic abuse, or like familial abuse that you experienced, and familial bullying that you experienced, that like, you had gone through so much, yet you always like felt or remained connected to that light within yourself. And because you had gone through so much, it's almost like, I don't know, there's something of like, you could smell on other people, like if they were that type of person that was a bully, There's something about like you having like conflicts with bullies, like even adult bullies, like you could see it in them and you just, I don't know. And then they could see it in you. They could see that you saw through their BS, their greed, their unhappy lives, like that they were living, but they were pretending like that they were happy. They were pretending like they were wearing a mask. So you could see, it's like you were like this Lori character constantly having these like, or constantly feeling like threatened by, or like that this energy or these people would always go after you. But it was because it was showing you that part that you were in denial of, that you were created, that you had to be in denial of to survive the truth of what your family was like. Because it's like, who wants to know that somebody's family is the first bully, that somebody in your family was the first bully, that somebody in your family who told you that they loved you was your first abuser? Who wants that? Who wants that? Who wants to face that, or who wants to fully face that? Or how do you fully face that? How could you fully, like, so it's almost like, and it's like, so this dissociation that you utilized to cope through these abusive scenarios or situations, or these things that you went through with your abusers, it's like, that was why you felt like almost like stalked by this energy of like people trying to come and siphon from your energy, like take your energy by puffing themselves up to make themselves the power over you, to make you feel small, to make you feel less than, because it's like, but they felt unworthy. And there's something about the fact that you had this, like, I don't know, this connection to like right or wrong at a certain level. Not to say that anyone's perfect. Confirmation. Not to say that anyone's perfect and that you never made mistakes. Criticism. They could have criticized you. Fountain of wisdom. You were always this fountain of wisdom. I feel like people were always criticizing you, or there's something about somebody who criticized you. There's something about a memory of somebody criticizing you when you were really little. And it's like, okay, can we take a step back? And I don't know, Spirit wants me to say, it's like, that was an adult criticizing you the way that they were when you were a child. It's like, clearly that adult had some issues of the reason why they were saying what they were saying. It's like they were criticizing a child when you actually needed compassion and encouragement. They decided to criticize you, to cut you down, because somebody neglected their duty to love you, basically, to show you somebody misrepresented themselves. Like, there's something about greed, or like seeing past why people were doing something. Anyways, but yeah, it wasn't your fault that they couldn't hold sacred what you offered, because it's like they didn't even know how to hold themselves sacred. I feel like you always saw the things that people tried to say were sacred. You saw that it was actually bullshit, what they were doing, that they were criminal minds, that they were actually doing something behind the scenes. I don't know. It's like, because status, they were chasing after something because of status. And I feel like you had actual spiritual integrity or connection to your soul. And I feel like you're such an old soul that you could see through these like criminal minded people, or these tower. You were like a walking tower for these people, but then it's like, because you were the walking tower of discernment. Thank you, Spirit. You were like this walking tower of discernment, because you were like, I don't know, these people from the past, there are people from your past, like whoever these people are, it's like, I don't know, somebody's putting the dots together. I don't know, they're seeing you now, or you were always this walking tower. Because of your discernment, because of your connection to God, you could see through people who were just doing something for status, who were wearing a mask, acting like that they were nice. But I feel like around you, they weren't nice to you on purpose, because they knew that you saw through them, even at that young age. It really pissed these people off. Even at even at a young age, they could see through you, or you could see through them. They thought, okay, they could see through you to your soul, to the bullshit detector within you that you couldn't hide. Maybe it's like that you couldn't always hide how you felt around somebody, like because you're so honest or because of your authenticity. It's like you had a really hard time wearing a mask in certain situations because of your emotions or because you wanted to be honest or your authenticity or something like that, you are like a walking tower moment for these people, or something that's going on, a change that you've made. It's like these people are experiencing a tower because of they're getting messages from spirit about you. Somebody from the past, from this time period, is getting messages about you right now. Somebody's house of cards is falling. They unite against the one who won't conform. So throughout your whole life, you had these people, you had these teachers, you had these students, these peers, or these people in your high school, in your university, that united against you because you were different, because you wouldn't conform to the bullshit, because you always had discernment, because you were always connected to your soul, because you were always connected to God. And that doesn't mean that you're perfect or better than anybody. And sometimes maybe you did conform, though. That's the thing. Maybe sometimes you did it at certain points, but I feel like you always learned your lessons from that. And you always felt the disconnect within yourself when you did things that maybe weren't your thing. Like you knew that they weren't for you, and then you learned from it. You were like, well, maybe, I feel like people are seeing that you learned from the trials in your life. Like they see that you've changed, that you've taken those trials and you've turned them into lessons and you've learned from them. And you're like this fountain of wisdom after everything that you've gone through. And I feel like some people are comparing themselves to you. Sarah, you're going the wrong way. Yeah, people tried to say that you were doing the wrong thing, but it's like, it's because they felt uncomfortable that you were doing something different, because they felt insecure about the choices that they were making, because they were actually just doing something to conform. But when you did something different, they wanted you to conform to what they were doing because they were doing something because of fear, but you were going based off of love. You did something. It's not to say that you never made choices based on fear. We all do that sometimes, and we all have fear to grapple with. Right? We all have that dark and light within ourselves. We all have a Michael Myers within us. Like that part of us, that archetype, right? That unintegrated shadow that is constantly trying to chase us, or that unintegrated fear that is constantly trying to pop up to make us understand something about ourselves better. Truth. We all have that. You followed the truth within your soul, but other people tried to say, Sarah, somebody's name could be Sarah. Sarah, you're going the wrong way. Okay. Or you could have been that person growing up where it's like you saw the truth and then you could have tried to tell other people that maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. Or it's like you always saw the truth. I don't know. There's something of like people came to you because they felt comfortable around you to tell things to. And like people knew your depth before you even knew how deep that you were. People could always tell your depth. They could see it in your eyes. And these teachers could see it in your eyes. These teachers could see that you could see that they were just doing something for status, for power, for greed, for luxury, for control, to appear a certain way, and you really piss them off. You piss them off, and I feel like you're still pissing them off to this day. There's somebody from the past that's like looking you up and you're still pissing them off. Like the words that you're speaking are pissing them off. Like just you as a person, the archetype that is you, that you're living out by being yourself and by following the truth of your soul, it still pisses them off. That you're still that nonconformist renegade soul, that free spirit. Your free spirit really pissed people off. Somebody is Dutch, okay? That keeps on coming up. That's come up like 3 times or something. They praise your pain but disappeared during your wins. These people were there for you. So this somebody from your past is like, they praised your pain, like they loved being there for you when you were in pain, or like they loved being there for you when you were that beaten down, insecure, people-pleasing person. But when you started to win, this is a person from your past who you could have nostalgic memories of, and 5755, okay? They were always there for you when you were the more unhealed version of yourself, when you were still learning how to integrate this trauma that actually drew you to this person. Because like I said, this was a trauma bond. This person put you down. This person was a bully and you didn't even realize it. For a lot of you, you didn't realize fully how much this person was never on your side. Like this person was secretly envious of you. This person didn't want to see you win, right? And then they disappeared when you started to win. They didn't really support you. Maybe they didn't support your business. They didn't support your creative projects. They didn't you were more of a friend to this person than this person ever was to you. And I feel like this person neglected their duty to be your friend, or their duty to be your lover, their duty to be your parent. It's like so it's like a parent that wanted you under their thumb, that wanted you, they clipped your wings. So you had a parent that clipped your wings, and then you had other people that kept on trying to clip at your angel wings. Just clip another feather. Something about feathers coming through. People always just trying to clip. I want one of the feathers. Because they could see that you were one day going to fly. They see that you had the ability to fly. They saw that you were different. They saw that you were an alien, or that you were, like, honestly, your soul is different. Okay, you're here for a specific purpose, is what I'm getting. Like, everybody is one thing, but we all have different purposes. And I don't know. I'm hearing you're a rare breed. There's something about unicorns. Abandonment. They praise your pain, but disappeared during your wins, right? Because you would no longer abandon that part of yourself that they got used to disrespecting for them anymore. So as soon as you stood up for yourself, they disappeared. As soon as you started wanting better for yourself, these people disappeared. You could have even tried to tell these people that they were doing something that wasn't good for them, or they tried to make you feel like, hey, you're going the wrong way. This is the wrong thing. No, because, like, you wouldn't conform. This person looked down on you because you wouldn't conform. Somebody is just focused on status. Somebody didn't hold you sacred. What you offered true friendship. You offered true love, and this person neglected you. Right? And this person abandoned you when you needed them the most. But I feel like these people are going through a tower moment. Tell me more about this tower moment, Spirit. Frenemy, confirmation. So this is a frenemy. What are these people? So what is this tower moment that these people are going through? Sacred message. They're getting messages from Spirit about you. They're getting messages from Spirit about you through the way of other people coming into their life and treating them how they were to you. So they're having friends come into their life that are talking down to them, that kind of subtly bully them, or subtly envy them, or subtly put them down, who say things about their appearance, who mock them, or it's like okay, so somebody's tower is that they're getting messages from Spirit of, like, what it feels like to be in your shoes, about how they treated you, or something like that, because it's almost like somebody's mother is getting sacred messages from Spirit. Somebody's mother, or somebody who reminded you of how, this could be a friend that treated you how your mother treated you, how your mother imprinted that onto you, that treatment was okay. That it was okay for her to mock your appearance, that it was okay to talk down to you, that it was okay to make you feel worthless, that it was okay to make you feel like your worth was that your worth was in question, that it was okay to make you feel like you were missing something, or that you were incomplete, because she felt incomplete, because she was insecure, because she didn't know how to love herself, right? So anyways, this could be a mother who's getting messages from Spirit. Like, somebody's mother is going through a tower moment right now, and that tower moment is getting messages about you and this time, and how they treated you during this time. And then also, there's also a friend who reminds you of your mother, in the sense that you realize that this friend was actually kind of treating you in the same way at a certain point. Something about, like, a closed heart. Like, these people, like, their hearts were closed, and I feel like you were always trying to receive love from people who didn't know how to even give it to themselves. So that, like, let alone, like, you, they couldn't give it to you. They're so disconnected from themselves that they didn't even know how to really connect with you and make you feel seen. You felt unsupported. They didn't really know how to support you, because they felt like no one actually supported them. There's somebody who also used to say things to you, like sayings or something, like, one cannot give what they never received themselves. And it's like, it's like your mother could have said that to you. They could have said, one cannot give what one never received themselves. And it's like, they would say that to you, And then that's what they did. Like, they couldn't give something to you because they never received that themselves, but then they would say that saying without being conscious of the fact that that was actually about themselves and how they treated you, how they deceived you, how they didn't love you, how they failed to love you, how through their treatment of you, because you were always trying to vie for their love, you were turned into this people pleaser. So somebody's mother, okay, so basically somebody's mother, or somebody who reminds you or treated you the same way that your mother treated you, or somebody, this could even be a sibling who was influenced by your mother to treat you a certain way, is getting messages about you from God, from spirit, from their soul, synchronicities about you. They're thinking about you, and they're going through a tower of a realization, or they're going through a change, or they're seeing you have changed, and your change is this tower moment, because they're realizing that you're no longer feeling incomplete in reverse. You're no longer, you've integrated something, so you're no longer feeling incomplete without their love, because you've learned how to love them yourself. You've learned how to manage that voice inside your head that was created by these people, or that was exacerbated by these people who talked down to you and hooked into that wound that was the initial wound that your parent or that your family created within you, or that a partner created within you. This could even be a partner. It's like, there are people who are getting messages that they went in the wrong direction, that they chose wrongly, that they made the wrong choice. That they made the wrong choice. Arwen. My identity is my divinity. Arwen. Because, wait a second. Because she almost leaves, and then she comes back. Or it's like her father wants her to leave, but then she believes. It's like, right, so like Arwen's father, like, doesn't she, right, yeah, in Lord of the Rings, she almost, a choice between worlds. You chose a different world. You chose to love yourself, and so these people are thinking that they made the wrong choice seeing you in your life now, right? Because the fear, right? Arwen's father tells her to leave. But then she chooses love instead. She chooses to stay by Aragorn's side because she knows that there is a chance of new life to birth a son, right? So these people from the past are seeing that you chose love over fear. They're seeing your inner strength, your grace, divine timing, immortal soul, choice between worlds, eternal love and hope. It's like, I don't know, you're tripping people from the past out. I don't know, it's like they seen your sacrifice. Or maybe somebody's seeing, they're finally seeing what they sacrificed. There's somebody, like, I don't know, somebody's parent or somebody's friend is seeing, a frenemy, confirmation, a frenemy is seeing what they sacrificed by treating you the way that they did, by not holding you sacred. But what Spirit wants you to know is that it was never your fault how they treated you. It was because of their unintegrated trauma. You're a good person, okay? But they treated you like you weren't a good person, or that you weren't good enough. Adult child of a narcissist. Like, this person had unintegrated trauma. This is why you were brought together through a trauma bond. Like, this person kind of bullied you because they were bullied at home, but they didn't want to heal that. But I feel like these people have seen that you have healed it, and you have this inner strength because of the healing that you've done. Okay? And you're showing a lot of grace. Okay? There's something about your grace, or you gave these people a lot of grace, or they could have given you more grace because of what you were going through. Sarah, you're going the wrong way, like in that movie, right? Choice between worlds. So people were trying to say that you were going in the wrong direction. They tried to make you believe in the fear, but you chose love over fear. You chose to love yourself. You chose to believe in yourself. You chose to have hope of a new life, of being able to break these patterns. It's like somebody saying, you'll never do this, or you'll never do that, and now you're doing it, or you'll never find love, or that's not the right partner for you, but it was actually the right partner for you. It's like somebody tried to put this, like, this negative shit in your mind to control you, to keep you feeling powerless, because they wanted to be in control of you because of their own powerlessness within, because they feared losing you, because it's like they mistook love for control or something like that. So they like programmed into your mind, like, to like, I'm hearing like secede, or like, or I don't know if that's the right word, like to bow down to their way, or to it's like you're saying no to what somebody expects, or you said no to what somebody expected. A fake female friend, like this is a female friend. I want to know, this female friend is angry. It's like, but they're angry at themselves, but they could be like projecting it onto you, like they're angry at you. The black wedding dress, sanctified betrayal. They married your silence, divorced it. You chose to divorce someone, or divorced your silence. Someone loved you when you didn't speak up about how what they did made you feel, and then once you started like actually trying to heal and address things that you felt, because you have integrity and because you wanted them to see your pain. It's like somebody didn't want to hear what you had to say about how they made you feel. They didn't want to change. They didn't want to grow. They didn't want to face themselves, right? But now someone is facing themselves anyways by another them, by experiencing how they treated you in friendship. Now they're experiencing that type of friend in their life. Now they're experiencing somebody talking down to them. While you're experiencing this new rhythm that you created by the healing that you've done. So they're resentful. Somebody is resentful of your new rhythm, your new life, the fact that you divorced the silence. That you divorced silence. There's like your mother, your family, there's people in your family, there's people from your past that resent, that envy and anger. Their anger is actually sadness at the fact that they envy this choice that you made to love yourself and to create a different life, to create a different experience, to break away from the ancestral trauma or the ancestral pattern that they themselves felt stuck in their whole life, that they programmed into you. And it's like the fact that you're healing yourself makes them feel angry at you, but it's actually they're angry at themselves. They're sad that they envy you it's like, and you're sad that they envy you. You never wanted them. You felt that envy all along. You felt somebody's envy all along, but you didn't want to feel that envy. You wanted them to love you, but they didn't even know how to love themselves. Somebody could be an introvert. Something about Janis Joplin. This is what I'm saying. It's like they voted her the ugliest man on campus, but then she became famous, and there's some sort of quote of like, yeah, maybe we don't have the looks. I think she was talking to Leonard Cohen, and then she said something like, we might not have the looks, but we have the music. It's like, maybe you don't have the status, but you have the soul. Maybe you don't have $1 million in the bank account, but you have your connection to your soul. You have love. Maybe you don't have a perfect job. Maybe you don't have a perfect life. Maybe you don't have a perfect big house on a farm. Maybe you don't have a big house on a farm and a perfect life, and maybe you don't go to church like your whole family goes to church. Maybe you don't, or like your whole high school, maybe you don't. Maybe you're completely different than that, but you have the music of your soul, that you're connected to that music. Maybe some of you guys are musicians. That's what you're following, your soul. Right? They voted her the ugliest man on campus. And I think that that's what I'm saying, is that was literally because she experienced a really difficult childhood. I can't remember Janis Joplin's life, but I am almost certain that she grew up in a really dysfunctional family. And she was probably called ugly at home. And then when she went out into the world, other people called her that as well. Right, that she re-experienced out of the frying pan into the fire, and then she faced that fire, and she took that energy and she alchemized it into art that changed the entire world. And I feel like for some of you, there are people who they're realizing your power, because there are people who are realizing that you've realized your power. You need to realize your power. The anger and the trauma and the sadness and the pain that you went through again and again, like a freaking Halloween movie, Michael Myers constantly coming back to have a freaking showdown with you, never leaving you alone. Guess what? All of that, you're learning how to take all of that pain and that energy and the trauma and the flashback, the energy of the indignant rage. Like, are you serious? How dare you treat me like that? I never deserved how you're treating me now, and I certainly never deserved this treatment when I was a little kid. That anger, you're taking that energy and you're transmuting into art and music and whatever it is that you do, into a life, into a version of yourself that will change the world, just like Janis Joplin. Give yourself some grace. Can you give yourself some grace? That you're not perfect, that you're learning how to get into a new rhythm in your life. Give yourself some grace. There are people who never gave you grace, who are resentful, jealous, and envious and angry at the life that you're living, at the fact that you chose a different life. They never thought it would be you. That's what they're I feel like it's like they never thought that it would be you. They always thought that you were the underdog, right? You were the one that they could bully, that they could look down on, right? That held the shame for the entire community, for your entire family, right? In whatever way, in multiple ways, right? Everybody could just project their shame onto you, just like your parents taught you that it was okay, that they projected their shame and their hatred and their envy onto, and their shit onto, like that you were just this punching bag for everybody, for the entire world. Like Janis Joplin, that you were just the punching bag for the entire university to just tell you that they were the ugly, like that she was the ugliest man on campus. How cruel is that? But you're taking all that cruelty and you're turning it into your power. You need to realize the power that you have to take everything that was ever done to you and to alchemize that into something beautiful, because that is the power of God within you. That is the power of spirit, of source. That you are an extension of source in a human body, having this human experience. And you're taking everything that you've experienced and you're turning it around, and there are people who are seeing that, okay? There are people who are seeing that. So say what you need to say. Say what you need to say. Say what you need to say. They said you were a bad seed, or that you were, I don't know, that's how they treated you. And you believed that at one point, where you're like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a piece of shit. Maybe I am bad. Like, maybe it is me, because everywhere that I go, like, people are treating me like this. Because they didn't want to see the reason why I was acting out was because I was being abused. Fake. It's like some people who were literally fake saying that you're fake. Like, there are people who are fake, who wear a mask, who are saying that you're fake. Or there are people who are starting to realize that they called you fake and they wish they never did that. They wish that they gave you more grace because they're realizing that you weren't, that you're actually really authentic. There's somebody who thought that you were shallow because of how you looked, and now they realize that they were actually shallow and thinking that you were shallow because of thinking a certain way about you because of what you looked like. Like, they literally thought, like, how shallow is that to assume that somebody is shallow just because of how they look? So they shallowly thought that you were a certain way because of how you presented or how you looked, when they didn't actually know you at all. And now somebody is realizing that they wish that they took into account that maybe they didn't really know you. Maybe they didn't really ever have a full conversation with you. Maybe they didn't know the depths of your soul, because maybe they didn't want to know, because it scared them, because of somewhere where they're not going that deep within themselves to know themselves. But they knew that there was something different about you, but instead they thought that you were shallow, or that you were an airhead. There's a past partner that thought that you weren't smart, but you are, and they're realizing it. They're realizing it. They can't do the things that you do. There are people who are realizing that they can't do the things that you do. Comfort. You bring me comfort. That you bring other people comfort, or that you learn to self-soothe yourself. Or they miss the fact that you brought them comfort. You comforted these people, but when you needed comfort, they didn't comfort you. They left you. There's somebody who is actually like attracted to you, I got lesbian tomb, but they put that locked away in a tomb. There's some woman from your past who is actually a lesbian who was in love with you, but they like buried that. They repressed the fact that they were attracted to you. Or there's somebody who like represses their attraction to women because of religious trauma or something like that. I don't know. Anything else, Spirit? Like, so these people from the past, what else are they realizing about the collective? Just before I close off this reading, what are these people realizing about the collective, Spirit? Tyler Durden Fight Club. Again, it's that same anarchy, destruction, self-destruction. You're integrating whatever it was that you've been doing lately, or that has come up within the last few years, or that has been following your whole life. This thing within you that this propensity to just self-destruct, to just do things against yourself, to get in your own way, or to take something out on yourself, something that is self-destructive, like trying to escape from something, to dissociate even further through an addiction or through something, right? That is self-destructive, or a self-destructive pattern, that it comes from the criticism. It comes from this criticism that you learned to criticize yourself before anybody else could, because that's all that you ever faced. There's some confirmation burp. Identity crisis. I feel like maybe you have been going through an identity crisis, but I feel like it's not an identity crisis. It's you facing this, the last pieces of this unintegrated part of your shadow from this time period, or that got compounded throughout this time period that you have been feeling nostalgic of. Breaking down old identities, self-realization, through rebellion. You were always trying to rebel. It's like people got a bad rap about you because you were always trying to rebel. I don't know, they thought that you were just a trouble starter or something like that. Expectation. Unfaithful. Somebody had an expectation. It's like somebody didn't think that you would be... It's okay, so there's a past lover who thought that you were going to be unfaithful because you were just different. You just didn't... You didn't want to conform to them. What is the word? They wanted to dominate you. Somebody wanted to dominate you, and you rebelled against that because you had always been, you were always like, people always, that's what you faced throughout your life, of people trying to dominate you because of your power, because of your connection to your love and your soul. So people always trying to come and dominate you, talk down to you. This is what I'm talking about. So somebody thought that you would be... There's something about the moors, or there's something about like mountains, or like peaks and valleys. Like there's something about like a certain place, like rolling hills. They shame your reactions to avoid owning their actions. So you had a past lover who shamed your reactions to their actions because they wanted to avoid what they did. And I feel like they're having messages about that. All of these people shamed your reactions to avoid owning their actions. Even these people in your school did this to you. They treated you a certain way, and you saw through it. You discerned the bullshit. You rebelled against it. It enraged you, and then they pathologized you because of the sacred rage that you felt or that you expressed. That was fated to happen, to like crack you open to your destiny, for you to ask you to seize your destiny. Like Arwen seized her destiny. She's like, no, I'm choosing love over fear. Why would I want to go live 1,000 million years in this place without my true love? So I'm going to go for my true love. I'm going to learn how to love myself. I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to choose fear. And so I don't know, people thought that they buried you, or people thought that something ended, or like that you had ended with something. Like somebody thought that something was going to end you, or that was going to be the end of you, and then they seen that you resurrected yourself. They thought that this pain that they caused you was going to be the end of you. Confirmation. So some partner thought that you were going to be unfaithful to them, but it's like that was a projection because they were actually unfaithful to other people in the past, or somebody was unfaithful to them. And I feel like, but they were, it's like somebody being the jealous type, but it's because they actually didn't like a part of themselves that cheated on another person, or that wanted to cheat on you or something like that. So then it's like, I don't know. And then, so somebody thought that you were going to be unfaithful because of something to do with your trauma, or something that you had done even before you met this person, or because you were rebellious, because you are a free spirit. There's something about a free spirit. But anyways, so somebody thought that you were just going to, so somebody thought that something ended you, like this pain was going to end you. Like that you were, like that, like, right? Like Yeshua in his tomb, and it's like stillness in reverse. Something about magic mushrooms. Something about, the yearbook photo. Frozen identity, you don't look like that anymore, but someone still thinks that you do. So someone from the past still, it's like they think that you're still the same person from the past. Somebody needs to go paint. walk away. You walked away from somebody, or they walked away from you, or it's like you walked away from somebody because of the way that they treated you or the way that you were reacting to their actions, and they didn't want to own their actions. So someone is still trying to cling on to a projection, but I feel like they're getting messages from spirit, and they're going through a tower moment. They're realizing your power. They're realizing why you put up boundaries, or they're realizing that your boundaries with them even have led to this awakening, or have led to you like emitting more light, or your light. So your boundaries are increasing your light. Angel Vesharaya, the power to protect against the unfair people and situations. This was unfair. Like, you went through so many situations with people, and something with your mother, and something with these people, or with these people from this nostalgic part of your life, or from high school, or this old friend. Like, it wasn't fair. They didn't treat you fairly. They didn't hold you sacred. They didn't respect you, right? And maybe you even saw a part of yourself in how they treated you, because maybe you did that to another person at some point because you were so disconnected from a piece of yourself, or because you didn't know what you know now. You didn't know, like, everybody makes mistakes, right? Intense alchemy. A karmic masculine is going through it at this moment, okay? Because they weren't loyal, and they knew that you were, it's like the karmic masculine, you were like Samwise Gamgee for someone, right? Stand in your truth. So a karmic masculine is seeing you stand in your truth. They don't actually want to be your friend. Somebody doesn't actually want to be your friend. You were loyal. They tried to fix what they don't understand. And it forced you into the void of your repressed memories, your childhood memories. It opened Pandora's box. Yeah, it was like quicksand. But you got to make this into music or art, or put it into whatever. It's like it forced you to confront something that you were carrying in your temple. This energy from this trauma that you experienced. The sealed tomb. In the sealed tomb. Buried alive. You survived something no one acknowledged. You survived, and you're leveling up now. So now these people are seeing that you survived something that they never knew about, or they never acknowledged, that they never wanted to acknowledge. And the reason why they never acknowledged it is because they never wanted. It's like that would give you the power if they just acknowledged it, if they like took accountability for it, right? But they didn't want that. They wanted to keep the other hand. But now it's like they're seeing true power and how you dealt with it in Arwen-like fashion, by facing the fear of not running away when things got tough. You faced the music when it started to play. You faced the music, and now these people are seeing that you're leveling up. They're seeing that the tomb that they sealed, they thought that this was gonna end you. They thought that whatever this was, whatever you went through, or your struggles, they thought that like they never took you seriously, because they only saw the hurt version of you that was crying out for help, that they didn't even really notice, or they didn't even really care. They didn't really want to understand. It's like they cast you in some sort of role that was never like the role that was actually you, or like that you should have ever been cast in that role, but it was the role that worked for them. The sealed tomb, buried alive. You survived these people burying you alive in their shame and their projections. This healthcare practitioner sees your power and has seen you transform, okay? They see somebody, like you bumped into somebody. You could have bumped into somebody very recently from your past that you don't talk to anymore, and you could have looked at this person in their eyes and said nothing, or like maybe it's like you saw this person from afar, or like, I don't know, you encountered somebody, or maybe it was like a quick conversation, or just polite, or maybe it wasn't. I feel like I don't know, okay? But it's like this person has seen that you have leveled up, that you've taken your power back. This person, it's like it was like a tower moment for this person to see your energy, or to like look into your eyes, like they know that you know, or that they know that you see them, and they didn't know what to do with that. You loved them out loud, and they hid you in silence. Cloak. They tried to silence you. They tried to silence you. They did something to try to silence you. They cloaked themselves because they were cloaking themselves, and you saw this professor cloaked themselves. Somebody's professor was a predator. because you were like Mulder from the X-Files. Some professor always put you down because you saw things different than how they saw them, and they didn't like that you saw things from a different... You wouldn't conform to the dogma. You wouldn't conform to their way of seeing it because it was about their ego. Because something about you questioned what they believed in, what they chose to believe in, that may or may not have been a lie. So the fact that you had you had the courage to even say like a different perspective pissed that professor off for some of you guys. Somebody's professor could have like put you down for, I don't know. Yeah, they're afraid of what you know. They are afraid of what people are afraid of what you know. There are people from your past, okay, who are afraid of what you know. They've realized your power. They didn't treat you as sacred. They disrespected you. These people from the past are afraid of who you are now. They're afraid of what you know. Your manifestations are coming in fast. You're allowed to enjoy the things that you like, right? Maybe these people, I don't know, they made fun of you. It's like now they see that you've turned the thing that they made fun of into something that actually serves you because you chose love over the fear that they created about that. See, and then that's what you're confronting. That's the Michael Myers that you're confronting within yourself, is the bully in your own mind, that those people and how they talk to you and the words that they spoke to you and the trauma that they put you through, how that created this voice in your head that always pushes you down, that talks to you like that you're a piece of shit, that you don't deserve it, that you're not good enough, that everybody's gonna laugh at you, or whatever it is, but you're facing it because you're just like, that's not even real. I choose love, like Erwin. I choose to stay. You chose to stay when the going got tough. The tough get going, and they see that you're not a victim. You're no victim, and you don't suffer fools lightly anymore, collective. You don't suffer exposing their insecurity. The energy that you're in now is exposing these people's insecurity that they held all along, which is why they treated you like that all along, is because of their own insecurity, but they projected that onto you. Because of their own shame, but they projected that onto you. Because their own inner ugliness or their fear of their own insecurities of how they look like, that they projected onto you to make you insecure about how you looked or what you did. Peon-minded brains. Somebody just followed the crowd and they feel ashamed that they just followed the crowd. Sword of the Spirit. They know that you wield the sword of truth, and that has, yeah, I don't know. Somebody, your uncle, something about your mother's brother is seeing you stand in your truth. What does this uncle feel? True love in reverse, SA, something about your uncle to do with SA. They see that you're standing in your truth about your SA, and they I don't know, somebody's uncle could have never loved you, or somebody's uncle could have never truly loved someone. There's something about true love in reverse. Maybe somebody's uncle projected onto you something about your relationship, like it's not real or it's not true love, but maybe they're projecting something about their own relationship onto you that has nothing to do with your relationship, right? Inheritance, lineage. Something ancestral, okay, abuse, okay, ancestral patterns about SA, okay, that you were never loved. You're standing in the truth that you were never loved in the way that you needed to be loved, that something happened when you were young. For different messages for different people. This could have even been somebody's uncle, right, that they inherited something. It was ancestral trauma. Something happened to them, something happened to somebody's uncle that actually happened to you. Somebody's uncle was a policeman or something about a policeman. They know that you have cracked the code. They know that you know. Somebody knows that you know the ins and outs of everything that happened. Xena warrior princess. Like, wow, all of your power. This could have even been somebody, so beloved who has passed, jealousy and envy, Draco Malfoy. So, okay, so I'm getting there's something of somebody could have treated you, could have been so jealous and envious of you because you were like a mirror to this person, and it was like a trap for this person. This person felt like trapped, or somebody's monitoring you as well, or somebody's, okay, an angel Keliel. The power to avoid enemies, cloak from enemies to work in peace. I feel like if you did bump into somebody that you don't like or who you consider as an enemy, I feel like even if you see them, like, don't be worried. I don't know, there's something about, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like you face the fear. You don't have to hide your head in shame. You don't have to hide. Somebody wants you to feel like that you have to hide or that you have to look away, or you didn't look away. There's something about you didn't look away from somebody. I don't know what this is. You didn't look away from somebody. You looked into their eyes, period. And they felt that energy of your discernment. And it made them feel shocked. She is a snake, because this woman is a woman. This is a woman. She was a snake. She knows that you're a snake. Sunken door. She knows that you know that she's a snake, but she's hid that part of herself away for so long that she doesn't want to see that part of herself. But there's something about you saw her enlightenment. She knows that you know, that she knows that you've changed. She knows that you've leveled up. Throwing stones and hiding their hands. She knows that you know that she threw stones at you and hid her hands and acted like she didn't. There's something about that. She knows that you know. This could be a mechanic, or somebody's a mechanic. The grail, divine longing. What you seek is not the cup, it's who you become when you carry it. You're finally becoming this person because you know that you are the cup, you are the water, you are everything. It's like you always had something to offer. You were always sacred. Just because people didn't know how to honor it doesn't mean that you weren't always sacred. Just because people didn't always realize who you were doesn't mean that you weren't always that thing that you always were. You were always good enough. You were always worthy. You were always beautiful. You just didn't know it yet. You just weren't taught how to see it, or how to take care of yourself, or how to... You just weren't taught something. Like, somebody didn't teach you something on purpose. Scar. Something about somebody's uncle. Somebody didn't teach you something on purpose. Okay? Somebody didn't teach you something on purpose because they were ashamed of something. Somebody who literally should have taught you something. Somebody who even worked, like somebody who is a doctor or something, didn't teach someone how to, like, be healthy. Or somebody who was in child protective services didn't teach someone how to be aware of predators. You know what I mean? Somebody in your family, like somebody's father didn't teach them something that they should have taught them. Extremely arrogant. But then this person, like, there's something, sunken door. Because of their repressed shadow. Anyway, so there's something about this Draco Malfoy energy. It's like somebody feels remorse, you know? Like when, at the end of the Harry Potter series, like, he did it because his family expected him to do that. Because somebody expected him, somebody's family or a group of people expected someone to make you the enemy. And they feel ashamed that they went along with it. They're carrying this crate of guilt and shame. Dave Chappelle, you never sold out. But I feel like somebody feels like they sold out through manipulation. So they were manipulated by somebody. Cockroach. I don't know, somebody thought that this would be the end of you, but then they're just like, how is this person that resilient? Like, they keep on showing up. Like, this person cannot be ended. Like, how did this person get through all of this? How does this person always pop up, like, renewed? Eclipse. How did this person who I never thought could ever eclipse something that I did or I was or that I ever thought... You're eclipsing who somebody ever thought that you would ever be or that you were. You're eclipsing somebody's expectations. You're exposing someone who's fake. Period. Just to close out this reading, Spirit. So, okay, just tell me more about these people and what they're feeling, and then we'll close out this reading. Tell me about these people and what they feel now. Crisis. They're going through a crisis. Understanding in reverse for something that they didn't understand. There's an ending happening. Like, there's no new beginning for somebody. Somebody is not having a new beginning while they're watching you realize your power and have a new beginning. somebody feels disconnected from spirit. Somebody feels something about like Cleopatra, something about perfection in reverse. They see you embracing your imperfections and loving your imperfections. Or this person is being seen as less than perfect. This competitive. They're being exposed as competitive. Or somebody is competitive. Something about your love life or your love of self. Like your perseverance. Like you chose to persevere instead of become competitive. I don't know. Competitive, love, perseverance. Just to close out this reading, Spirit. They see there's somebody who is somebody wanted to compete with somebody's partner. Somebody is frozen in, there's something about like somebody like saying hi to your partner but then ignoring you, oddly enough. Like there's something about like a woman saying hi to your partner but then ignoring you and acting like you're not there. But then this person, like, somebody could like talk to you online but then in person they like play mind games with you in person. I don't know, somebody could like try to be cool with you online but then in person they're blatantly disrespectful. Why? What is that? What is up with that? Honesty in reverse. This person is a liar. Somebody wants I don't know, somebody wants somebody's partner. I feel like it's like people see, there's something of like people want a piece of like this confidence that you've created for yourself, this connection to spirit that you've created, this respect that you've created for yourself, this satisfaction, like all of this that you've created for yourself because you chose love over fear. So all of these people are seeing that you're creating this for yourself. That you have healed so much from the time that they ever knew you or that they knew you as that person. They wish, it's like they're trying to see you as that old version of yourself, but they're actually like, what if they're seeing something in themselves, perfection in reverse, that they're not they could have thought that it's like that you were always the problem and they were just perfect. Like so, the delusion, the denial. So somebody is facing the fact that they were in denial about you and themselves. Confirmation. Because they never chose to explore this mountain. It's like, so somebody is not satisfied with their life because they haven't explored this part of their own shadow, right? Part of the parts of themselves that they are ashamed that they're less than perfect. But then they see that you've embraced the parts of you that are less than perfect and overcome them and turned the pain into power. You've woken up and you have this understanding, but I feel like that they haven't woken up, that they haven't understanding something yet. But I feel like they're going through a tower moment right now. And they're overwhelmed and it's not a harmonious time. Whatever's going on, the House of Cards is falling. It's not a harmonious time where these people are at. Something is consuming them from the inside out. Atonement of errors. It's their soul. It's like somebody feels like we got atonement before. Somebody wants to come to try to make something right with you, or they're thinking about it. The scandal. Somebody wants to, they created this scandal about you and they turned it around on you when it was really them. It was the scandal. They wanted to get ahead of the scandal. So they chose war and violence over their own success is what I'm hearing. And now they see that they actually, they feel ashamed that they misrepresented you, that they misunderstood you, and now they're going through spiritual troubles. Meanwhile, your life is being restored. You're having a restoration of life after this war and strife. You're coming out of a period of feeling downtrodden and like you can't get things done. You're coming out of that period. Intellectual richness and discernment. These people are they see your discernment. They see your intelligence now. They see that you made a correct choice, that you were right about something, and that they're realizing that false testimony. they testified, like, again, the movie Atonement, they testified, they gave a lie. They lied about you. They didn't know what they were talking about. Fall of an empire, and now their empire is falling because of their own deception, okay? And they see your spiritual wisdom and discernment. So it's like there's something that's come full circle where it's like there's something happening where it's like there's no holding you back at this point. They couldn't, like, yeah. They know that you're guided by spirit. They know. They, healing capacity and reconciliation. They want to heal. Somebody wants to heal things with you. Because they feel guilty that because of their deception. And they know that the only way to heal something is to loyalty, protection. Somebody wishes they still had your loyalty. They deceived you. They were disloyal. But it's almost like you're loyal to yourself now. You're not deceiving yourself now. I'm hot. I'm so hot. Oh my gosh. I'm burning up. Okay, literally last cards for the collective just to... What does the collective need to know just to close out this reading? A new beginning. You're having a new beginning. Meanwhile, this person feels like... What's going on with this person? It's all good in reverse. You're having a new beginning while somebody is going through a tower moment. It's not all good. It's not all good. The changes that someone is experiencing is not all good, but they see that you're having a new beginning and that you've changed because you've decided to honor your energy. And now what your life is actually teaching these people about something that they haven't even opened themselves up to seeing about themselves, which was the very reason that they went after you and lied about you and lied to themselves about you in the way that they did. Because you had this ancient wisdom that reflected back to them something within themselves that they were disconnected from. You're experiencing this new beginning, free from the illusion of this energy, that this energy used to elude you or create these illusions, or you bought into these, like, you're releasing this anger, right? And the antidote was always self-love all along. That's where I feel called to end this reading. I love you guys. I know this is a little longer. If you enjoyed it, like, share, comment, subscribe. Love you guys. See you at the next reading. Bye.